Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Locker Room Podcast. I'm your host, Zain Mohsin, joined by my co-host,
I'm Abdullah Soliman.
Perfect, and our two fantastic guests for the day, Mr. Why don't you go ahead?
And Bob Norris.
There you go.
Well, before we get into the podcasting, we have a big announcement from the show here. One of our guests recently became a two-time father. So congratulations to this man on the side. Football podcaster by day, parent by night.
It feels like a commiseration should be more appropriate, but yeah, cheers.
That's perfect. So I guess really the aim of this podcast is to educate and entertain people who like football, and from that, not just people who are into football, people who are also not so sure about football. It's for beginners and for people who really like football. Anyways, let's get straight into the breaking news, really. I think the first story that we're going to cover today is the big signing of Timo Werner for Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, we know that Liverpool kind of wanted him, but I guess Liverpool wasn't ready to make such a move in this time. I guess Chelsea they were more prepared for it, I'd say. What do you think, Bob?
It's a big signing. One of the most promising strikers in the world. But the thing is, I mean, Firmino's so good, he probably would have sat on the bench for a couple of seasons anyway.
Yeah.
So whether it's a huge hit for a huge problem for Liverpool, I don't think so. But it's definitely a really great signing for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, over the last few years, people have been talking about, has Abramovich fallen out of love with football and with Chelsea? And I'm wondering, is this signing of Timo Werner a statement of intent once again from Abramovich and a huge backing of manager Frank Lampard? Possible another title challenge for Chelsea on the way, because I hear rumours that they're also after Ben Chilwell of Leicester for 54, 60 million. So Chelsea's definitely a team to watch over the coming seasons.
I mean, there's like so many factors to that too, right? Because you're seeing they actually have three strikers right now. So I guess we're assuming that Giroud's probably gone after his contract's up.
Yep.
And I think Batshuayi just isn't promising for the amount of games he's got. So I think we're looking at like an Abraham-Werner partnership. And I think Tammy Abraham's also super promising. In his first season, in 34 games, he had 15 goals and 6 assists. And obviously, Werner, who we don't even need to talk about, 31 goals and 12 assists. So I think this could be a really, really promising future partnership. And they're so young, too.
He's got to get over the Chelsea striker curse, though.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah, we got another Morata coming in here.
That's the thing. Do you remember Timo Pukki in the beginning of the season? Everyone thought he was going to be he's going to take the Premier League by storm. But he ended up falling off, didn't he? So that's why you never know with these young players. They could have one great season, one great half of the season, and then fall off.
He also plays in the worst team, though. You're not looking at like Troy Deeney or like Capu and being like, these guys are like De La Feo. There's a reason they're playing at Watford, right? There's a difference. I think
that's true. That's true.
He's had one fantastic season now at Leipzig under Julian Nagelsmann, who has really praised him as a player. I think they're clearly competing in the Champions League still. They smashed Tottenham, but they played fantastically. I think Leipzig has a really good team and enough to maybe challenge in the Champions League. I don't think they'll win it. I don't think they have the depth to win it. But I think they could maybe make it to semis, be like another Ajax.
Yeah.
I think like what Bob said there is very important. What did you call it? The Chelsea curse? Was that what you called it?
The Chelsea striker curse, yes.
Yeah, if you look, he's not the first striker to have been bought by Chelsea with a big price tag, and Morata came with a lot of experience and a lot of goals from across Europe, top leagues, top teams, and he just couldn't seem to cut it at Chelsea. So I guess the same question's going to be asked about Timo Werner. Can he cut it? Can he adapt to the Premier League? Can he rise to the level and the pressure at Chelsea?
So Torres, Shevchenko, like I said before, lots of strikers. But I think, even Costa was good for a season and then he kind of tailed off, didn't he? It's difficult to be a successful striker there. The only thing is that obviously Werner's got Abraham as a backup or to support him, so he won't have all the pressure on him straight away, which I think is pretty good.
I mean,
I personally don't think this is very good for Abraham.
Yeah,
because he's scored a lot of goals when he was really the striker there, and I don't think, looking at Abraham developing into a top striker, which I think he could, it's not really a very good signing for him personally, I would say.
I think it depends on how Timo Werner performs when he first comes in. Is usually clubs don't like playing the player they just signed on the first game. They'll give him a couple games and then they'll play him. And then I think it really depends on that game, what happens in that game, if he really
but I think
can take the spotlight from Tammy Abraham.
What Bob's saying, I think, is a difference in terms of like playing time, like because you're seeing Abraham start games and most times finish games because Giroud did have his injury and he just fell out of favor with Frank Lampard, and they came to a consensus pretty early that Batshuayi is not the class that can play for Chelsea. So Abraham was playing like full 90-minute games, right? And now you're sporting him like 20, 25 minutes on the side. Like that doesn't feel like enough for him to develop.
Also at the beginning of the season, was it beginning or sort of a couple of games in, Abraham went for a period of games of maybe 7 or 8 games without really doing very well, without scoring a lot, but they stuck with him, and young strikers will go through those kind of goalless streaks. But if you've got someone like Werner behind you, you go a couple of games without scoring, they're going to stick Werner in. And if the guy keeps on scoring, then Abraham's not going to get back in. So,
I wonder how Abraham will react to the situation. Like, what type of character is he? Will he see this as a challenge now with Werner coming in, or will he kind of take the huff and look for a Chelsea exit? It'd be interesting to watch Abraham over the coming months.
I definitely
It'll be interesting because if he looks for an exit, that'll be big for the other clubs around him because he's exceptional.
Who's offering him? I think he's really promising. I would definitely see someone like Liverpool wanting to pick him up with the decline of Firmino. I think definitely you could.
Yeah, definitely.
Would Abraham fit in that attacking three though? It's the only problem with.
He wouldn't be a regular. He wouldn't be a regular. Definitely not. Because no matter how bad Firmino gets or how much of a bad season he's having, we still play him because he's our striker.
You think Firmino's having a bad season?
Absolutely.
This season's been
really bad for Firmino. Absolutely. Come on.
Have you seen him this season?
Has he not been dog in the title-winning season?
Oh no, he was fantastic last season in his Champions
season. Yeah, but this season no.
This season he's really not done much. He literally plays like a supportive striker, like a really supportive striker, and he's not even creating as well as he used to.
I think if you ask a Liverpool fan, who would they rather keep out of the three, they would say Firmino.
No,
here's the thing.
You go for Werner. Why would Liverpool so pressingly go for Werner if they're thinking that they want Firmino? I mean, like, I think you go Salah, Firmino. I think that's the priority.
Even if we
is Werner not an out-and-out goal scorer?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely he is.
I wouldn't call Firmino an out-and-out goal scorer. He's more of the link, the cog that makes.
Exactly. The attacking three at Liverpool, they really adapted to each other. They play together. It's like they're on their own team, and that's the thing. It's going to be very hard for Liverpool to find a replacement for Firmino since he's already adapted to that type of play. Mm-hmm. So it'll take a lot of time for someone to be able to work like that. It's like the MSN, but on a lower level, I guess.
I was about to say, I feel like Werner, Salah, Mane could be the next MSN. In terms of every single player in that three is a goal-scoring person who can create. Because everyone forgets Mane can create fantastically. Salah, not so much because he wants to score always. But I think you have options in that front three. But I think let's see how Firmino finishes out the season, moves into next season, the kind of offers Liverpool. I think if Liverpool get a good enough offer, I think they'll let him go. If they can sign a competent number 9, I think they'll let him go definitely.
I really don't agree with you on the Firmino one.
Really?
I think he's vital to that Liverpool machine. The way it works.
Yeah, I don't think we'll sell him. I don't think we'll sell him, but yeah, Like
he helps get the best out of Mane and Salah, and it's also the whole ethos that Klopp has, which is defend from the front. The guy works like an animal. He chases balls down. I don't know what the stats are, but I bet he's probably got the most interceptions of any striker in the Premier League. He's a beast. And then his attitude in and around the team and all of that. I think actually, if you're looking at who's going to leave, like who Werner was there to replace, really, I think Mane actually maybe in the next couple of seasons will probably get poached by someone in Spain.
Yeah. Even though he doesn't want to leave, he said he doesn't want to leave. But I mean, look at what Real Madrid offered. Real Madrid offered 140 mil.
I think
that's a big offer.
After that Champions League loss, I think all of that team is, besides like the players who are obviously under contract, like Alisson, Van Dijk, who have like insane release clauses. I think all of that team, if a good enough offer is coming, someone will leave. I definitely think this transfer window, there's going to be more outs from Liverpool than ins. I think Keita might go. I think Fabinho has potential to go. I think a lot of that midfield could change. Definitely think maybe, if you had asked me a month ago, I would have said definitely one of the attacking three leaves. Who that is very conditional, but I think definitely we're going to see some big changes at Liverpool. But with that being said, do we think that this new Chelsea, with the proposed lineup, could be challenging? So do we think a left-back Chilwell, we're looking at Rudiger and Zuma, Reece James, our midfield would be probably Mount in a number 10 position, and then we have Jorginho and Kante, and the front three of like front three. I guess I don't know, depending on whether Willian is staying or not. But I think Chelsea looks really strong now.
See, here's the thing: Chelsea looks really strong, but the type of Liverpool, Man City strong, I feel like it's something else. It's not like you can't just sign a striker and be on that level. It's going to take a lot more than that.
Finally, some sense.
I think it's because I think they will have exceptionally high highs but low lows, which is what you get with a
really young team.
Yeah,
it's going to be inconsistent. I think inconsistent.
So moving on, we kind of spoke about the Premier League a bit, but the return date officially is the 17th of June. I think the first game it's between some of the bottom teams. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the huge stories that broke was that they're actually allowing 5 subs now instead of 3, and a squad bench of 9 players. So
that's
what do we
huge. See, the thing is, that's allowed. That's not going to help the lower teams at all, because they already put their best players in the starting 11. But teams like Liverpool, Man City, that's huge for us, because Man City has Sterling. Like, you have the deepest bench in the Prem or even in Europe. But Liverpool has a deep bench also, but it's not like the players that we have in our starting 11. The ones that we sub out and in, they're on the same level as their subs. There's no like spike in how good we're gonna play, basically.
I'd argue that. I think Liverpool's bench is weaker than their like usual starting 11.
Well, what do you mean? Like, give me an example.
Like, okay, how good do you think Origi is? Origi's clutch, but I don't think he's consistent.
Well, here's the thing: the attacking three, I don't think we're gonna come close to those. Like, we're not gonna touch those. We're just gonna leave those, right? Unless it's a really long game.
The thing is, three subs works perfectly for Liverpool, right? Because the 3 you sub out, usually you sub out 1 attacking player and then 2 midfielders. So, like, I don't think that the 5 subs helps Liverpool that much, because I don't think your bench is that deep.
Okay, look, we have Keita, we have Milner, we have extra center backs. We have a lot. We're gonna have to find a system, basically, of who does well halfway through the game or 70 minutes into the game, something like that.
I think it's all about fitness, really, isn't it? That's why they brought it in.
Mm-hmm.
So really, I to be honest, I don't think if you make a lot of substitutions in the team, you can end up kind of disrupting the balance in the team and the way it's playing. So I reckon that I personally don't think that in the big clubs it's going to make a huge difference. You know, I actually do think it's going to benefit the lower teams, because if you've got a team that's, you know, kind of parking the bus, chasing down the ball against a team like Liverpool, what happens is after like 70 minutes, they get tired, they get fatigued, and they start making mistakes. And that's when the Man City or the Liverpool or the Tottenham will carve you up. Whereas if they can bring 5 players on, you know, they can completely revamp that whole midfield.
Yeah, that's true.
Put a left back, right back on, and you know that tiredness is not going to be such an issue. You know, so I don't know. I think it could work a number of ways. It's interesting though. It's quite cool. Quite.
But then the fitness thing. Did you see Ronaldo came back to Juventus? He came earlier than on time, and he was in much better shape. He did so much better than like he was better in training than he usually is.
I mean, I think
Ronaldo's the Corona break. Ronaldo is something else, but I mean, like,
he's
still,
a special.
like, you can see.
Has this substitute rule? Is this only until the end of this season, or is this a permanent addition?
Just for this season. I mean, if it was permanent, it'd be really unfair, I think.
Yeah.
Some teams.
That would change the game completely, wouldn't it?
But I mean, I think from we're speaking about this. I think Kiki Setien gave an interview about this, and he was asked if they would be willing to do this for La Liga, and he said, while you would think it would help Barcelona because they have a deep bench and stuff, basically in the politest ways, what he was saying is this will not help my team because my bench is way weaker than my starting 11, and especially with Barcelona, when you look, I think Barcelona are one of the teams in Europe with the highest goals scored in the last like 10 minutes. Because they play that like tiki-taka, don't create anything, just like pass the ball backwards, basically, which I hate. I think that's like a perversion of like Pep's idea, and I don't think it's just good at all. I think it's really slow. But I mean, for Barca it works because they pressure so much, and I guess the other team gets so tired that when you get to those last 15 minutes, it's so hard to play against them when you have the likes of Messi, Suarez, Dembele coming in and creating. But I think there's definitely different sides to this. I think it's really interesting to kind of discuss because we don't know where that's going.
Mm-hmm.
I think next, let's move on. We have dates for all the leagues now that are back. Obviously, Bundesliga's been back for about 2-3 weeks now, but Serie A is coming back on the 15th of June, and La Liga's back on the 13th. So I think if we move straight to like Serie A, for example, what do we think? Who here has been keeping up with Serie A, actually? I'll ask that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
No one. Yeah? Okay.
So give some information for everyone. The Serie A this year has actually been super competitive. Usually we expect like it's a Juventus just smashing it. But it's been very, very close this season. We have, I think, Juve is 1 point ahead of Lazio. And Lazio's kind of come out of nowhere. Behind Immobile and Milinkovic-Savic, really leading that team and creating forward. And then we have Inter about 7 points behind. But I think Serie A is one of the last like interesting title races. Like if you ask me like who I have to bet on, like obviously it's Juventus. They just have the quality that these kind of teams don't. But it's definitely something really interesting to watch. And with all
seeing like Lazio in second position. Obviously, as a Glasgow Celtic fan, we beat Lazio home and away this year in the Europa League, and they were not a great side, to be honest. And I know people ridicule the Scottish League, but we outplayed Lazio home and away and beat them both times. And it's interesting to see them sitting second in Serie A now. Does that signal a weakness in the level of competition?
It signifies a weakness in, first of all, Lazio's like inconsistent team. Like I think Lazio beat Juve 3 times this season, and then losing to, a Europa League team was unforgivable for them. For the quality that they have, they should not be losing to teams like that. But I think we all know they're inconsistent. It's the first time they've really been in a title race. Normally we expect Juve, Napoli, and then like the other 4 or 5 teams that are in the upper echelon kind of fight for like those 3rd, 4th positions. But I think this year with Inter being a lot more competitive than they've been previously, I think the kind of signings they made, even though most of them are like loan players, and the kind of difference that they're making in their team is clearly understandable. And I think Lazio's, it's their first time really competing, which is why I think they're inconsistent. Even though they don't have young players, like the core of that team, of that midfield of Milinkovic-Savic and Luis Alberto, these guys are like 25, 26 years old, so you want them to be showing consistency. But I think all of those players, except Immobile, are looking to move on to like greener pastures basically, and to bigger teams. So I think it's a great season for Lazio, but I think they only have like one trophy so far. So if they're continuing to compete, I think it's great. But I don't know if you guys have read this. What have you guys thought about the away-home record? So in the Bundesliga, majority of the teams lose at home now and are winning away, which is something crazy.
Well, that's got to be to do with teams not having the quality to have possession for the whole match and win. You know, it's kind of moved away. You were talking about Guardiola with the tiki-taka. That, you know, that whole generation of football teams, to be honest, if you had the ball, you were winning. And now it's shifted. It shifted back, and it's a lot of the teams who are doing very, very well are the teams that play on the counter-attack. You know?
Like Liverpool. We don't.
Liverpool, when they play the big teams, they do play more on the counter-attack than they have the ball. And Tottenham last year got to the final of the Champions League doing that, just counter-attacking basically the whole way through. So I think it's just a shift, you know.
But I think in the final they dominated in terms of stats. If you look at it by stats,
they dominated because they tried to play counter-attack against the counter-attack team. So it didn't really like work out.
They played counter-attack with like 60 possession, yeah.
It's just typically when you're at home, you feel more pressure to attack, and that leaves you vulnerable to good counter-attacking teams, doesn't it? So,
I think
I reckon that will all shift again. You know, that will shift back. You know, teams will start winning when they've got possession more. I mean, you're looking at someone like a possession-based team who does very well. You're going to have the quality of something like City or Barcelona, and not many clubs are able to collect that many quality players to be able to do that, you know.
And like I think that's what Barca's missing this season is they have all that.
I know you're a big City fan. Are City linked with any high-name profile players this summer, or what's going to happen in the transfer market with City?
Oh, absolutely. Of course, we need a new center back. Like, inarguably, need a new center back. We have a world-class one of them, and then we have John Stones, who literally looks like he's playing for Derby, and then Otamendi, who's like not at the level. And then we're in such bad center back troubles that Fernandinho, one of our best midfielders, has to play in that center back role. So I think definitely we're
but when a team is reliant on one player for the defense, like you were reliant on Laporte for a while, you just waited for him. Like Laporte was the key to your defense, and when he was unavailable, you guys had serious trouble in your defense. That really doesn't look good for a big team, you know.
You look at us in terms of like, I think we do have the best bench in the world right now. But I mean, you look at us versus like that Liverpool game comes to mind where we lost 3-1, or like any of the games that we've dropped to like lower tier teams, like the Norwich game or the Wolves games that we should be winning, and like we dominate possession. But like I think City has the best attack in the world, but when that attack isn't perfect, you always know that we're going to concede, and it's about whether we bring it back level or win the game, and that's something that should be happening.
Right. Which centre backs are out there that you would like to see City look at?
My dream, I'd love Koulibaly. I think Koulibaly would absolutely be a target that we can go for.
How old is Koulibaly?
Koulibaly's 26, 27.
Yeah, I don't think he fits though. I mean, to play for City, to play for Guardiola at centre back, you know, there's a reason John Stones played for you guys. He's not the greatest defender, no, but he's brilliant on the ball. And it's about finding that balance. I don't think Koulibaly really has the ability to play out of defence in the manner that Guardiola wants him to. Don't get me wrong, he's an awesome defender, but I don't see him at City. I don't see him being a City player.
The only thing is, I don't think that we can, like, of course we can afford him, but I don't think we'll be as willing to pay for him as, like, I think United will throw like 120 mil at him, 130 mil. Like, they'll keep going up until he accepts, basically. even Liverpool might do the same if they're thinking that Joe Gomez isn't our future really here. And I think Matip is kind of buying.
I don't agree with him, Man United. I think
I don't think
United they're going to be
Liverpool.
happy with Lindelof and Maguire. I reckon they're going to put their money on those two. They got Eric Bailly coming back, who's not a bad defender at all, and they could also poach back Smalling. And he's had a great season with Roma. I think if Man United are spending their money, it's not there. You know, they need like a right winger or something like that.
Could it be Newcastle United to make a statement if
yeah.
I mean, like Champions League football though, right? Like I definitely think Koulibaly has so many options. Another name that I've seen linked, which I would love at City as a new centre back, would be Skriniar, the Inter Milan defender, who's a world-class defender, fantastic, super young still, very good on the ball and like at attacking. So I think he's definitely one to look out for. A new left back would be nice. We have 3, but I think Angelino's on loan. Zinchenko is good, but he's young, and Mendy's just like either has injuries or he goes from being super inconsistent. I think names linked were like Chilwell, but I think if Chilwell goes to Chelsea, then we have to look at something else really. But so defense is something. If Sane leaves, I would like to bring in a new winger. Even though, like, I think in terms of depth, a new winger would be fantastic. For center mid, we're fine. Actually, no, that's different. Yeah, center mid with David Silva leaving this year, I could definitely see us buying a new center mid. So like,
it might actually that idea because a season back or a couple of seasons back, when Guardiola was talking about Phil Foden, he said that Phil Foden was David Silva's replacement, and that when Silva retires, which will be at the end of the season, they won't be buying anyone. And now they haven't won the league. Then obviously Guardiola, being the facetious dude that he is, you know what I think about Guardiola. Then he said, well, no, let's go buy the best money can get, But Foden should be walking into that team right now. He really should, and I think it's important for him. And it's not only important for Foden; it's important for the Man City model, for the youth team model that the incorporation of youth team players, that someone like Foden actually makes it big in City. If someone like Foden, who's incredibly talented, one of the best youngsters in the world, if he can't get into that Man City team, how are they going to attract young stars? And how are they going to keep players like the future Sancho, who left because he knew he couldn't get in the team and now is lighting it up in Borussia Dortmund, I think it's important that City allow Foden to develop.
Welcome back to the locker room. Sorry about that. We've had a few issues with our guests and their connections. So thankfully for this segment, we don't really need guests. So we're just going to do our lies segment, which is a quick explanation. Basically, Sully, why don't you explain lies?
Basically, we're going to say a topic, and then we say, like, whoever can say more things about that topic. So basically, players. Whoever can say the most players in 30 seconds. I go maybe 11, and then Zain can go 15, and then we keep increasing until I say lies or he says lies that the other one can't say that many, and then we test it.
Usually we do this with 3 people, but just for today we'll do it for 2.
Yeah,
okay, so to avoid any unfairness, we'll avoid our preferred teams, and we'll just so no Liverpool City questions.
Yeah.
So you go first. Your question first.
How about let's keep it simple. How many strikers can you say in 30 seconds? Premier League strikers.
Premier League strikers.
10.
10.
11.
12.
Oh.
Current Premier League strikers? Current Premier League strikers?
Lies.
Okay. You have your stopwatch?
Yep. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. Aguero, Jesus, Firmino, Origi, Batshuayi, Giroud, Abraham, Raúl Jiménez, Igalo, Martial, oh my God, Mason Greenwood, Harry Kane, Troy Parrott,
You're done. You said 13. You said 13.
How many did I have to do?
13.
Oh, I did 13.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Which team did I forget? I did
Okay.
Chelsea. I did Chelsea, United, City, Liverpool. I forgot one of the big teams. Which team did I forget?
I don't know.
I did City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Oh, I forgot Leicester. I forgot to say Iheanacho and Vardy. Okay.
Oh, and Arsenal, man. Aubameyang.
Yeah, I mean, they only have one. I was doing teams that I know have 2 or 3 strikers.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like United's good, because they have like 3. Oh, 3 that suck.
Alright, go for it. Your question now.
I need my breath. Jeez. Okay. How many left backs can you name in world football?
In world football.
Yeah.
Left backs. Not that many. Maybe 6. 6.
6. Okay. 10.
10. I can't. Lies. I can't. I can't do that many, man.
Go. 30 seconds.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Marcelo, Ferland Mendy, Benjamin Mendy, Angelino, Zinchenko, Robertson, Sergio Reguilon, Kimpembe, Alaba, Hernandez.
You're done.
I had more. I had what's his name? Shaw, Brendan. 2-0, by the way. 2-0.
Okay.
Your question.
How many? How many stadiums can you name in 30 seconds?
Stadiums. Oh, that's a good one. 8.
8. 8. Wait.
I think, come on, you can do more than 8.
Yeah, 9. 9.
9.
Go on.
10?
You can do 10.
Yeah, okay, 10.
I'll go 11.
What? Lies.
Nice. Okay. Are you gonna time?
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Are you
3,
gonna time?
1,
Okay.
go.
So Anfield, Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford, Turf Moor, Goodison Park. How many am I supposed to do?
10.
Hillsborough. No.
Oh, he's out of time.
Oh my God, no. How many did I say?
7.
Oh my God.
You didn't say
That's
say
tough.
the 2 biggest stadiums in world football. The Bernabeu.
Which ones?
Bernabeu and
Oh
Camp
my
Nou.
God.
Or the
So
Etihad.
stupid.
Or the Etihad. Okay.
Oh, and the Etihad. I would have had 10. Oh my God.
I was
Okay.
like, oh, he's got this. Okay, 3-0. What is happening?
I should have had that, man.
You should have won that. I couldn't have done, because you said like I would have forgotten like Goodison Park and stuff like that. You didn't say the Emirates. Both of us keep forgetting Arsenal. Ranjani is gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Okay, your question. No, my question.
Oh, your question. I'm gonna win this.
We're doing only football, right? Only football.
Yeah, only football.
Oh, this one's hard. Things you'd find. Things you'd find in a locker room.
11.
12.
13.
Lies.
Okay. Time.
3, 2, 1, go.
Keeper gloves, football shoes, football. Lockers, kits, bags, goggles, water bottles, phones, people, socks. Oh my god. No. How many did I have to say? 13?
13, you did 11.
Oh my god.
You always
So
have two.
close.
I couldn't have done 13. So I couldn't have done like 12 even. So I was
What
like,
could I have said?
I'll try and get him one up. Shin pads,
Oh.
laundry basket,
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
showers.
Close.
Your question.
All right, we'll do one more round, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 4-0, no? 4-0? 4-0.
How many?
Friends do you
How
have?
many? That's tough. How many? Let's do another position. How many center backs can you name in 30 seconds?
Oh, I knew it. I was gonna think about it. I can do so many of them. Like I don't think you'd ask.
From them?
12,
14,
15,
16.
17.
Lies.
Shit. Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. John Stones, Otamendi, Laporte, Fernandinho, Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Joe Matip, Guendu. Let me see. Oh god. Johnny Evans. Oh my god, Arsenal center backs. Mustafi.
You are done.
That was terrible. I like froze.
That was
Guendouzi threw me off.
so bad.
Guendouzi threw me
bad.
off in the middle. I have so many though.
Bro, you could have said PK. You could have said Mascherano. You could have said.
No. Current only. You can't do all ones.
Okay.
But like, still, I had so
Yeah.
many.
Still.
Oh god.
Still, yeah.
PK, Longley, Umtiti, Varane. I had so many, and I just Guendouzi threw me off. Guendouzi.
Yeah.
No. Arsenal center backs. Oh, they don't have any because they play so bad. Luis, no. They can't be center backs. They're garbage.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this has been Lies.
I think. Yep.
We are gonna get the main boys back, and then we'll close out the podcast. See you in a bit. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. Let's move straight on to the next segment. One concept that we've talked about doing a lot is kind of making our team of the season, really. And I guess let's start that today. So for goalkeepers, who do we think is the best goalkeeper right now?
Can I just? I mean, okay. So I believe it's between these two, Oblak and Alisson. The thing is, how I see it is that Oblak is amazing. Oblak's best is better than Alisson's best. However, Oblak is not always at his best. Alisson is consistent. Like I'd say he's the most consistent keeper in the world right now. But his ability is not as high as Oblak's best, you know?
You mean consistently injured,
right? What, twice? What? Yeah, so how are we taking consistency over quality or
yeah, I guess it all depends on how we define best season, doesn't it? Like you have, if you look, and are we looking at the Premier League just? Are we looking across Europe, across the world? I suppose if you look at the Premier League, again, how do we define best? If it's statistics based on saves, you would have Martin Dubravka of Newcastle United is currently top of the saves charts.
Yeah.
If it's statistics based on clean sheets, then we've got Pope from Burnley, I suppose, is top of the clean sheet list. So what are we deciding? What is our criteria for deciding who is the best?
Thing is, like if anyone watched the Liverpool Atletico game, in that game, Oblak was insane. He blocked like 20 shots, maybe something like that. It was mad. But that's the thing. That's his best.
Is that are you talking about the Corona game?
The last Champions League game played, yeah.
That's the Corona game. And then are you basing your thoughts just on that one game?
No. But like that's an example of Oblak's best. Not like that's not all he can do, but that's his best basically.
So I guess you're saying Alisson. Bob, what do you think?
I say Alisson.
Is that only Premier League? Yeah.
No, it's Europe.
No, world. Yeah, Europe. Yeah.
It's difficult. I mean, the best. I mean, David De Gea, for example, on his day is for me the best goalkeeper in the world. But he's very inconsistent. Then he doesn't really have any leadership skills to speak of. So it's difficult, you know. I mean, I still think that Manuel Neuer is a beast, and he changed the way that we think about goalkeepers. I don't think people like Ederson and Alisson would be anywhere near as good as they are now had Neuer not come along and shown them what to do, you know. At the same time, someone like Loris is pretty consistent generally and pretty good all round, and is a leader on the pitch as well. I mean, if I had to, who would I choose to be on my team? It would probably be Alisson, I'd have to say. Just because he's cool and he's Brazilian, you know? You got to have a Brazilian on your team.
All right, Rory.
Yeah, I think it's. Don't get me wrong, as a Newcastle fan, I'm very happy to have Dubravka for the call. It cost us, I think, less than £5 million, which was a phenomenal piece of business, and he was sell for a lot more than that now. But like Bob just said, if we're talking about who would I want to have on my team, if I could pick anyone, I probably would go for either Alisson or De Gea. So I'm not sure. One of those two.
I'm shocked. I was going to say Oblak straight away. I think Oblak is just, with the team he plays with and how inconsistent that team is and how badly they play sometimes to his level, I think it's like, for me, Oblak straight up. I understand what you guys say. But I totally understand what you say, Alisson. The thing is, Alisson has the best defense in the world.
That's the thing. Oblak's manager, did you see what he did against us? They had 4-4-2 in their own half. He is one of the most tactical managers there is, right? He knows.
Whatever. So wait, Simeone does that, and it's all like, oh, he's the most tactical manager in the world. Mourinho does that, and he's parking the bus. Say it for what it is, man. Say he's a dirty dude. You see
I hate him.
You saw what Simeone did to Beckham in the World Cup. Shocking.
Yeah, true. But I mean, he does what he does, like, you know. So Simeone knows how to make up for those mistakes that his team makes because he knows them.
I mean, he's the highest paid.
I think that makes up
for it, guys. I think he knows something. What he's doing to beat Liverpool, I think twice. I think clearly he's onto something. Maybe all of us should be parking the bus. So I'm shocked, guys. That means that for this week's edition of the podcast, our goalkeeper of the season is officially Alisson Becker.
Yeah, I think we'd have to agree with that. He's been phenomenal.
Can't believe it. I've been outvoted.
The thing for me is you guys are the La Liga experts as well. I'd be a Premier League expert, so I don't know enough about Oblak on a weekly basis. Yes, he had a good game at Anfield in the Champions League and stuff, but on a weekly basis, I can't comment on him.
Mm-hmm. No, but he is exceptional. Well, I think that does it for this episode. Right?
We're going to say thank you to our two fantastic guests for the week, Rory and Bob. Thank you so much for being here on the inaugural episode. Hopefully we'll see you back here sometime soon. Bye, guys.
Definitely. I'm sure I can speak for Bob and say we'd like to be back for when we're picking midfielders of the season or strikers of the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like goalkeepers. Man, seriously. No, but yeah, love to be back. Just maybe the appearance fee could be increased a bit. That's all.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to be here, and I'm sure again Mr. Bob will agree. And we just probably wish you put the same effort into your schoolwork. But
Burn.
Look after yourselves, and I'll see you both tomorrow afternoon. Take care, Mr. Bob, as well.
Thanks,
guys. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Hey, guys. Bye. Well done.